So most blokes think that getting lean and jacked is pretty straightforward, right? Pick a diet, follow a workout plan, white knuckle it for long enough and you'll get there. But if that actually worked, you wouldn't be feeling stuck right now. Because real transformations don't happen in just 8 to 12 weeks, and they're definitely not done in such a straight line. So in this video, I'm going to show you how Craig went from this to this, not in some quick 8-week transformation, but a solid 18 months going through these specific 4 phases. So let's get stuck in. Now, Craig got to a point where he just looked in the mirror and thought, what am I actually doing here? He wasn't used to the gym. He trained before, he wasn't new to dieting, tried that once or twice. There was plenty of times where he'd end up telling himself, right, I'm back on it now. He was being brutally honest, nothing was changing. Stuck in the middle between wanting to bulk up, but also wanting to trim down as well. And I know there's a high chance that you might relate to that feeling. And it's probably not because you're doing nothing about it, it's just that what you're doing isn't working long term. So Craig was doing what most blokes do. He cut for a bit, so he dropped some weight, but then he started feeling a little bit skinny. So then he think, right, I need to bulk up now. So he used that as a green light to eat whatever he wanted, and then the waistline grew again. This is where most chaps get it wrong. See, they end up thinking, oh, I just need a really strict diet plan, hardcore workout plan, I just need to stick to it for long enough and I'm gonna look like Chris Hemsworth. Or I need more discipline, or I just need to find more motivation somehow. That's not really the issue. The issue is that there's not a specific structure in what you're doing. The truth is, white knuckling it like that, it's not gonna get you there, because this journey is not a straight line. It's broken down into 4 key phases. And I'm gonna show you this roadmap that we use with Craig, along with hundreds of my other coaching clients. So first thing, phase 1, especially for guys looking to build some size but also wanting to strip away that excess flab, is always commit to a proper shred phase first. And what I mean by that is not some quick 6-week diet, then immediately hopping into a bulking plan. You need to stick to a shred phase long enough until you get to a point of lean, as I like to call it, so that you are no longer concerned with any little bits of overhanging body fat. And 9 times out of 10, that is a solid 5 to 10 kilos further than you think you need to take it. So with Craig here, we broke his shred phase down into individual sprints. 8 to 10 weeks of discipline, vigilance, and quite a bit of imbalance, to be honest with you, to make the shred move faster. This is more motivating to see when things move quicker. Between each sprint, we have a little small refeed break, and this can be as short as 3-4 days. It can even last up to 3-4 weeks, depending on your schedule and what you've got going on in your calendar. Every single sprint takes you closer to that lean goal, and you get a clear idea of how many more sprints away you are from completing that shred phase. Just like Craig, for most chaps I coach, it takes 2 or 3 sprints total usually. I'll be honest, Craig nearly packed it in during his first sprint. He wanted to go straight back to bulking. Instead of jumping ship, because he was being coached by me, I held him accountable and gave him that push and that direction that he needed. So we stayed on course and we saw it through. If you want to know a little bit more about how a proper 8-week shred sprint looks like, I run my 8-week Accelerate Shred program 3 times a year. And I coach you personally through your very first sprint. How to do it properly from a nutrition standpoint using our automatic diet method, learning about your key shred metrics, building out your optimal workout plan using our 2-set shred training programming. So overall, the idea of each sprint is that you shred between 5 to 10 kilos and build a much stronger, more muscular physique in the process. Most importantly, setting you up for long-term change. Craig started on my Accelerate program, so if you want to check out the details of that, I will put a link in the description below. Anyway, once you move through all your individual sprints, just like Craig here, getting to a point of lean, you then get to move on to the next phase. Phase 2 is one that 99% of blokes never ever do properly. Hardly anyone talks about it, but it is massive if you want to be able to keep a lean physique. It's called the sustain phase, which is basically maintaining your physique. Most guys only usually know 2 modes. They know strict, horrible, miserable diet, or they know a fuck it, lazy version of a bulk. So after getting lean, we didn't just go straight into eating loads again. You actually spend a few weeks, 3 to 6 weeks, learning how to live at maintenance, upping the calories, rebuilding your meal routine that you're in to shred down. You could learn what it feels like, what your meals feel like, etc., to hold your weight steady. Not undo all the work that he just did. And honestly, this feels weird for most people because you're not chasing anything at this point. You're not trying to bulk up, you're not trying to trim down. But this is the bit where you learn how to actually make things stick. There's going to be points in your life where you're juggling a lot, whether it's career, family, social life, stresses, whatever comes into your life. There's going to be points where you need to just learn to just maintain for a bit. Don't let yourself go and put on a load of fat, or you're not trying to like bulk up whilst trying to juggle everything, and you're also not trying to shred down because you're already lean. Once we get comfortable in this new level of sustainability, we can then move on to phase 3, which is the build phase. This is where most guys mess up, because if you skip step 2, phase 2, and you just go straight from strict dieting and trimming up to, fuck it, let's build up now, let's bulk, typically you're just going to get fat. And we don't want that, obviously. We want as much of the weight that you are gradually, slowly putting on as possible to be muscle mass. And that only really happens when you go through a sustaining phase properly, because by then you've already built the foundations. You've learned how to fuel up, you've been sitting in a place of higher energy, learning how to sustain this long term. And then all you need to do is just very slightly turn it up a notch. And by slowly, I mean slowly. In this build phase, you're looking to gain about 1% of body weight per month. Let's say you shred down to 75 kilos, you're only looking to gain like 0.6 to 0.8 kilos a month. This is also why you need to commit to phase 1 properly and complete a full shred, so that you are starting from a much leaner point. So that point that you trim down and get a little bit comfortable with, you typically need to go like 5, 6, 7, 8 kilos lighter than that, which buys you a good 4, 5, 6 months of building before you gain the weight back up to that point again. If you start phase 3 prematurely or skip phases, then you're just going to reach that point far too quickly, and then any kilos that you put on beyond that, you're going to be feeling uncomfortable, so you won't be able to commit to it for very long. So because we got Craig lean enough to begin with, following phase 1 and committing to it fully, and then going through phase 2 and building the foundations, the build phase was the best part of a year, where he only gained around 7 or 8 kilos. So he stayed in it for very long and built up the weight very gradually. And in this phase, we focus heavily on our training efficiency and intensity, getting stronger, better form, progressing on your lifts, a lot of video feedback in our coaching check-ins, because this is where the actual physique gets built. And over time, with hard work and patience, it all adds up. So you can see what this turned into, again, because he didn't try to rush into it and because he followed the phases in the right order. You can see he gained a lot of muscle mass during this phase. Once you go through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, properly enough and long enough, phase 4, the final one, is an absolute doddle. After a full build season, you would have inevitably gained a little bit of fluff. So this is where you go to the final reveal phase, which, like I said, at this point is really easy because all it involves is one shred sprint. After building and eating our high calories for so long during a build phase, you'll be absolutely buzzing to do a little bit of a mini shred. So it's just a quick shred sprint, peel away those couple of layers so that you can reveal all your hard work that you put into a build. And you can see here what a difference this point makes. Just a few kilos off and everything on Craig's completely popping. He looks proper jacked. So what's the takeaway? Craig didn't get in shape because of one simple plan. He got there because for once he stopped fucking about and he was given a proper structure and all 4 phases to follow. Not only that, we built it around his actual real world life and responsibilities. So it's not some hardcore white knuckling bodybuilder plan that he wasn't going to be able to stick to because of his work and family. Now he doesn't just look better. Yes, he's achieved that wow transformation, but he's learned how to actually keep it as well. Now for him, there's no long shred phase required anymore. All he needs to do is sustain it through like summer periods, for example, and then go for a long build season, reveal, sustain, build, reveal. Just follow that cycle year in and year out, easy. No more flip-flopping, no more stop-start, just a lean and jacked physique that you can build on for life. The process is simple, like I've laid out, but the actual making it work around all the shit in your life, that can be a bit of a challenge. That's where some real structure, accountability, and proper coaching does make a huge difference. So if you are looking for a little bit more personal guidance through this process, then check out the links below, just like I mentioned, where you can either join my Accelerate program waiting list, as the next one does start pretty soon, or you can even book a call with me where we can build out and run through your own personal 12 to 18-month roadmap. If you'd like my one-to-one coaching and help to guide you through this, then we can have a very low pressure chat about that as well. Stop looking for the perfect magical straight line plan and start following something that is actually going to work for you long term.